Today we are in Egypt Trade and Expert Finance Conference 2016. We'll be having a lot of interviews, so stay with us in كاميرا العقارية.
I don't feel that we have very much aggressive exporters. We do have very success stories, but they are limited in numbers. But again, going back to exportation, I think what we miss to have here is taxation. I think there should be strong incentives to exporters, whether they are foreign investors or locals, because the taxation that is applied today does not differentiate between exporters and importers, which I think is very clearly seeing what is the best for the economy. Secondly, the infrastructure of Egypt has been, I would say, overruled in the last 20 years. In the last 1 year and a half, there has been a lot of support that was needed, talking about power, talking about communication, transportation routes, and so on. I think this is very important. Suez Canal is just a start, it's not the end. It's just a start to host possible potential investors who could be coming, investing in what was very correctly said about the location. Good thing about, I think, Egypt as well, starting in dealing with exportation in the early 1980s. My ex-chairman, who has been the Prime Minister of Egypt, Mr. Dr. Hazm Biblawi, used to tell him we have only 5 crops that are exported: onion and oranges and cotton and 2 other things. What should we focus on? He said we have to look for potential exporter. He was right. As of today, we have a very large diversified export potential, not export existence. This is the difference. Furniture we can export. The quality needs to be upgraded. This needs some technician, like ISC, European Union experts to come. In a few months we'll be able to improve it. But we are not exporting for billions, probably less than $500 million or something. Textile, it's history, but it has a future. It has a history, it still has a future. We do have a lot of trade agreements which are in place, but I think we are one rotation from some African countries, sub-Sahara, not our area, to the United States, which is a huge market. Then you don't have to invest today in a textile factory in Egypt, but you can make some kind of a cooperation to be re-exported from another countries. Talking about Africa, I think the potential is there. We are coming a little bit late when it comes to exportation. We are the last one to come, unfortunately. But again, we are coming a little bit late, but the market is there, the market is open, but it needs not the initiative of the government, it needs the initiative of the businessman to go and work and discover and market. The efforts that is done by the business association, which is very, very strong and benign, I think it has to be followed by the businessman. And the banks are there, the export insurance are there, the risk mitigation are there, equity participation is increasing, is existing. So I think the infrastructure for investment or trade is existing. What we are missing is just exporters who want to go there. They start there, do their business, and then we do our part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Such a comprehensive answer. One of the things I like what you're saying there, and John Paul as well, is potential. You know, we've heard the word there, potential, 3 or 4 times, and I think that's what excites particularly our team at HSBC, because there is a lot of potential here for us to assist our clients, which we're going to talk a little bit more about now. So if I look at the next question is, are the local banks being cut out due to financing limitations? And do the international banks need to pick up the slack? And where do the correspondents and multilaterals come in? So, Motos, is there something you'd like to cover, please?
With regards to limitation, I don't think the local banks are having any limitation when it comes to the local currency. There's lots of excessive liquidity on the local currency, and this could support all the plans of the government to invest in infrastructure projects. But when it comes to the foreign currency component, that's the challenge, and that's the slack that the international banks needs to pick. Of course, the challenge for them would be the risk mitigants, and here comes the role of the ECAs and the insurers to come and cover this risk. There's lots of potential for these countries and these international banks to come benefiting from the slowdown in the advanced economies and capitalizing on the promotion of exports to come and provide their export coverage, export guarantee and export credit guarantee for the projects in Egypt, lessening the burden on the Egyptian government in borrowing, and at the same time achieving the goals with regards to the promotion of their exports. I think, of course, the main challenge would be the risk of Egypt, and I think with all the reforms that we've seen in the past few weeks, I think there's lots of potential for these international banks to come and tap the market here. When it comes to the initiatives of the government as well, in areas like the SMEs, I think this would attract lots of talents in the banks. So on the staff side, I believe the banks would be interested in hiring more people as we go. The banking sector is evolving with the economy and with the reforms of the government.
So in your view, if the banks can work closely with some of the bilaterals, some of the credit insurance partners, this should help hopefully achieve some of the potential we're looking at here as well.
Yeah, because the government have lots of plans for infrastructure projects, and many, especially on the green energy, as it was mentioned in the morning. And this requires lots of long-term financing, both on the local and foreign currency. And the long-term financing on the foreign currency will not come from the local market because of liquidity, price of liquidity, as well as the insufficiency of the capacity to meet these needs. So eventually, this needs to come from international banks. The main risk for international banks would be the country risk. So there has to be an element which the ECAs could come and cover and help the financing on the ground for these infrastructure projects and help the government as well.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, so obviously we talk a lot about potential, and we want to talk about flows. So if you look at the important flow markets such as Russia, China, India and Southeast Asia, how is this going to help Egyptian trade interests? And also, where are the other new flows coming from? So I know one of my colleagues from Saab is going to talk a little bit later about Saudi-Egypt flows. Obviously there's some issues there which I won't go too much into. I know for HSBC there's a huge focus on China, Egypt as well. So it's a big market for us. So Dr. Hussein, can you give us some comments from yourself, particularly if you were involved in the agribusiness?
In agriculture sector in Egypt, we have increasing in the area of planting area. In addition, we are going to plant 1.5 million acres. This will be a very big chance for the export to outside of Egypt. So our farmers in Egypt and company can export their products to outside of Egypt because there is no, the farmers can't find the way on how to export their products. We have more products which sell with low price in Egypt. So he searched about the way or the company which can export these products to outside. So I hope to encourage from our government to export or encourage with less taxes, support with money the producer in Egypt to more export. I think that will be very interesting for our farmers to encourage them to export their products outside Egypt.
Okay, thank you very much. Jean-Paul, what's your view on some of these flow in terms of markets flows?
Don't have much to say, just in terms of where these flows are coming from. If you look over the past 5 years, the biggest increase in flows with Egypt has come from China, of over about 4 billion total exports and imports. Then you have, I think, Turkey, Russia, Germany, and the UAE, which have each increased trade around, I think, $1 billion over the past 5 years. Again, the problem, though, is that a lot of this trade, from a macro perspective, it hasn't been exports. It's been importing more.
And now you have Ms. Maha Saleh, the Executive Director at Engineering Expert Council in Egypt. Hello, Ms. Maha.
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. First of all, I want to ask you your opinion about the conference today.
Well, I think it's a very nice gathering. A lot of financiers over here. Access to finance is one of the main pillars we talk about for exports. So it's going to serve exporters, definitely.
Your main topic was about engineering expert in Egypt. So could you tell us briefly what is engineering expert?
Well, actually, we are an advisory body for the Minister of Industry and Trade, and we represent the exporters community. We lobby for the exports to the minister with their problems, and usually the private sector are the ones who come with the solutions as well. So they know their problem and they know the solution of the problem. So we have the proposals of two. We have the problems and the solutions to the minister, and this helps and facilitates the role of the government in solving such problems.
So how to promote the engineering expert in Egypt?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the engineering exports represent around 13% of the non-petroleum industrial exports, which is 2.5 billion US dollars out of 18 billion US dollars in 2015. Exports for the engineering this year until October 2016 reached 2 billion US dollars. It's still under the target we are aiming for due to the current situation, but we're looking up that more exporters are joining in the arena. It's a double phase, the foreign currency and what's happening for the lack of foreign currency, because many of the local manufacturers over here in Egypt are searching for export opportunities in order to obtain their foreign currency. So now big local manufacturers are exporting to bring in the foreign currency which they use for importing materials. So that's an opportunity for us to work on the exporting field.
Yeah, sure. So you have talked in the conference about entering the African markets and how many countries have entered it easily, like China and Turkish and so on. So why we are too late in entering that market?
Well, yes, we are very late. Actually, we are very late in everything. I mean, we just mentioned in the beginning that a lot of the regulations and the rules are taken really, really late, which gives a very negative effect on the economy. I mean, of the liberalization of the currency had been taken long time ago. None of the black markets would have developed in such a way. Again, it's a sensitive market. The Egyptian market is very sensitive, so you need to study every rule and every regulation before you take it out to the public. As for Africa, yes, it's a huge market and we have high potential over there. The Africans are in need, a lot of need for the engineering exports, specifically the engineering exports, where you're talking about machinery, home appliances, cables, white goods, vehicle industry. And we looked closer, as I was saying during my speech, that when we look closer, you find the Indians, the Chinese, and the Turkish are taking the most market share over there. And what they do, in fact, based on a long strategy, it's not like just sending their products out, no, but they have like a whole strategy was built. For example, I mentioned the Turkish. You will find it, even the Turkish taste, the Turkish luxury. They send out grants and products as grants for the African countries according to their needs. So a study has been made with the needs for each market, and then products are sent out there with their training and services. So whenever you're thinking of buses and you have some Turkish buses, you will think of the Turkish to bring your buses from. And that's what we need to develop, such marketing tools, such a new marketing tool to enter. The traditional tools are not working anymore, and we need a quick win. So we need to have a mutual cooperation. So we're not just giving out even the grants as in products only, but we will provide training, we will provide service. So it's two ways, not one way only.
So that's the ways to overcome that problem and to be more smooth entering the market.
Yes, it will definitely make us more smooth entering the market. It will build the strong relationships with the African community. politically and economically, everything.
So what's the main results that we could come up with in this conference?
Well, actually, the conference, I think Africa and the highlight on the African markets is they are very aware of it and very aware of the huge potential over there. So it's given even a session for it. I think the second or the third session is for the African and the banks talking about the African campaigns over there and what facilitations they could give to exporters. That's a good thing. Also, the government has a very big focus on Africa. We've been asked by the Minister of Industry and Trade to develop a strategy for 5 years for increasing our exports to the African markets. That's in parallel to increasing our exports in general. So Africa has been given a highlight just parallel to whatever work we're doing. And the Engineering Export Council has developed a strategy through along the years which focuses on 4 main areas. So Africa, we're focusing on the east in Kenya, and west Ghana, and in the CIS area, Kazakhstan, and Eastern Europe, Romania. So Africa has two areas where we are focusing as a hub for all the countries around it, not only Kenya. So it's Kenya, Uganda, and the 7 countries around it. For Ghana, it's Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal as well around it. So that's the strategy we are taking so far.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maha Saleh. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
دلوقتي بنتشرف بالدكتور حسين السيد، دكتور بمركز بحوث الزراعية. أهلا بحضرتك.
اهلا بحضرتك، اهلا وسهلا بيكم، شرفتونا.
في الأول حابة أعرف رأيك في مؤتمر النهاردة.
والله ده المؤتمر النهارده بيعتبر فرصه كبيره جدا وكويسه جدا. يعني انا بصراحه انا شرفت بوجودي في المؤتمر النهارده، لان المؤتمر دوت يعني اضافه جديده للبلد، وبتبين ايه المجالات بتاعه الاستثمار او الدخول لراس المال هنا وتشجيع عمليه التصدير لبره مصر. وخاصه احنا محتاجين التصدير في اليومين دولت اكتر من الاول، علشان خاطر واخد بقى حضرتك ان لان زي ما حضرتك عارفه ان عماد ابتدت الاقتصاد البلدي ان هو حته الدولار والعمله اللي ابتدت الصعبه زي ما بيقولوا.
حضرتك طبعا دكتور بمركز البحوث الزراعيه، فحابين نعرف ايه الانشطه اللي بتقدمها وازاي بيقدر المزارع انه يستفيد منها.
والله احنا عندنا مركز البحوث في جميع انواع الانشطه، يعني في اكتر من 24 معهد في قلب المركز، ومختلف التخصصات حضرتك موجوده فيه. ده بالاضافه ان عندنا عدد كبير جيش جرار زي ما بيقولوا من الخبراء في مجال الزراعه، يعني تعتبر ثروه قوميه بالنسبه لمصر هنا. المركز البحوث والعلماء اللي موجودين فيه، ده صرف نظر عن كمان المهندسين والعاملين هناك، يعني عندهم الخبره الكبيره اللي هي تزق المجال الزراعه لقدام. بس طبعا هي محتاجه شويه تعاون مع بعضين عشان خاطر نزق العجله لقدام باذن الله ان شاء الله.
طب ازاي المزارع بيقدر يستفيد من المركز ده؟
والله احنا عندنا في مجال بنقول عليه اسمه الارشاد الزراعي. الارشاد الزراعي دوت فيه نوع من انواع التعاون بيننا وما بين مديريات الزراعه. الدكاتره بتيجي بتنزل بتروح للمزارعين اللي عنده مشكله بيحلها. بس طبعا هو دلوقتي يعني بنقول يعني ما هوش بالفاعليه القديمه بتاعته، لان عدد الدكاتره يعني ما يكفيش ان هو يغطي الجمهوريه. يعني هي محتاجه يعني دعم برضه شويه، بس المركز يعني فيه خبرات تكفي وتدفع مجال الزراعه لقدام، بس نستفيد منهم.
طيب دلوقتي المزارع اكيد بيواجه مشاكل التصدير كتيره، فايه المشاكل دي؟
والله مشاكل التصدير هو مش لاقي حضرتك الايد اللي واخده بحضرتك. مثلا محتاجين شركه من الشركات واخده بحضرتك اللي هي تصدر. يعني انا دلوقتي كمزارع عادي يعني بنتج المنتج بتاعي، واخده بحضرتك طماطم، خيار، بطاطس، مش لاقي اللي ابتدت الجهه اللي هتصدر لي البطاطس بتاعتي بره مصر. انا هكفي هنا البلد الاول، بس الزياده بتاعي المفروض ان الاقي مكان جهه اديهم البطاطس بتاعتي تلم البطاطس من السوق علشان خاطر واخده بحضرتك توصله بره مصر تجيب بيها عمله، فين الجهه ديت حضرتك اللي ممكن اديها البطاطس بتاعتي، او اللي تيجي تقول لي انت عندك ايه علشان خاطر اخده اصدره لك بره؟ دي مش موجوده للاسف في قلب مصر هنا. هي بتعتمد على الشركات اللي هي القطاع الخاص، بتيجي بتروح جايه بتلم البطاطس مثلا او الطماطم او وهي اللي تصدرها بنفسها، وهي بتتحكم في السعر اللي بتاخده من المزارع، وطبعا هي المكسب بتاعها طبعا معروف، يعني الدنيا معروفه قوي يعني.
طيب يعني احنا ممكن نوجه رساله للشركات ان هم يقدروا يساعدوا المزارعين عشان طبعا يزودوا من التصدير للخارج.
والله الشركات حضرتك يعني هي برضه عليها عامل كبير. نضيف لكده كمان حضرتك نقول ايه الشركات، نضيف لكده ان العامل الاساسي حضرتك بالنسبه لعمليه التصدير يكون فيه انتاج وجهه بتقول هات المنتج ده عشان نتصدره بره.
طيب هل المؤتمر فعلا ممكن يساعد على توجيه المزارعين وتوجيه الناس؟
ده المؤتمر دوت انا بدعو الناس واخده بقى حضرتك، معلش انت كتر خير حضرتك انك انت سالت السؤال دوت مهم جدا. المؤتمر دوت المفروض ان لو اتعمل السنه الجايه ان شاء الله باذن الله هنا في مصر، المفروض ان معلش معظم الناس اللي هم المصدرين يجوا يحضروا المؤتمر دوت. ليه؟ لان بيفتح مجال اللي موجود هنا، البنوك اللي هي ممكن تمول، اللي ممكن يتفاوضوا معاها بحيث ان هم يقللوا حضرتك الايه الفايده بتاعت البنك، بحيث انها هتشجع البنك ان هو بدل يقول لك انا حجم التصدير هيبقى كبير يبقى انا اقلل الفايده بتاعت رؤوس الاموال اللي انا هستثمرها في قلب عمليه التصدير، ان ادي اللي ابتدت الراجل اللي هو عايز ياخد مني فلوس عشان يصدر انا هديله بفايده اقل، فبالتالي وفرص اللي ابتدت التصدير هنا هو تاخد بحضرتك في قلب المؤتمر بيدي فرصه وبيدي امل كمان للبلد ان شاء الله باذن الله تطلع، ويا رب علشان خاطركم انتوا يا شباب يعني باذن الله تبقى ايامكم احلى من دلوقتي باذن الله.
شكرا جزيلا، شرفت بحضرتك، ميرسي جدا.
متشكر جدا لحضرتك، وربنا يا رب يكرمكم ويوفقكم باذن الله.
There's the trading environment, there's the security environment, and there's the investment environment. And there are various parts of that which will be of more interest, more concern to you, and others which you may not be too worried about at all. But together, we feel that that is what makes up political risk. And I've just got an example here. If you can see that, assuming that the further away from the centre you go, the worse the risk is, at least the perception of the risk is that it is high. You can see there that Egypt is placed roughly in the middle. And that, we find is helpful to visualise what we're talking about and as a point of reference. And along the lines of having a point of reference, I just wanted to put on that some other countries, if we can just click that one forward once, please. So that you can see there Turkey, which is just within the Egyptian circle of risk, and then the pariah state. I picked Venezuela, I guess that there weren't too many South Americans here, and so wouldn't risk offending anybody. And that just gives you a feel for where Egypt is relative to other countries in the world, and I hope that the takeaway from that is that actually Egypt, from a risk perspective, is not that bad a place, and certainly the private market has that view. If we can just click forward again, please. When it comes to looking at the products that the insurance market can provide your organisations to help you with, I think it's always helpful to look at these against the backdrop of a timeline, where you can imagine yourself that you're out there at the beginning of the story and you're looking for the opportunity, as many of you are here today, you're looking for that story, and eventually you'll have some success, you'll sign a contract, you'll look to implement it, and the timeline starts to march on. If we can just click forward now on the slide, please. So during that timeline, from the beginning, when you're here in the country, whether it's Egypt or frankly anywhere else in the world, you have to worry about your staff. And that is one thing that the insurance market has been very, very good at over time, is helping organisations look after their personnel. You are its most important asset. Without you, the business, the profits that is done by your firms would never happen. And strange things can happen very, very quickly, particularly in today's environment. And this is not commentary specific to Egypt. This is applicable anywhere in the world, and frankly, London, Paris are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous these days than Cairo itself. So the personnel risk, that goes throughout the timeline of your engagement within a country, within a region. Frankly, it's a constant. If we can just click forward again, please. So a little bit later on that timeline, you start to get some assets. You've signed your contract, and you either have some physical assets, which you might have acquired, you might have built them, you might have deployed them into the theatre of operation, and at the same time you have financial assets, which are now going live because you've signed your contract, and you're now worried, perhaps, about all of those different things. Click forward again. Thank you. So just to focus first of all on the people, there are a few pictures up there which will give you a feel, I hope, for the type of risks to which you're exposed. Kidnap and ransom is a common thing that people talk about. Actually today, the biggest risk that you will face is cyber. And statistics tell me that about 20% of the people in this auditorium have experienced or are experiencing right now some form of cyber attack. It's so easy. It's not restricted to people who do naughty things on the internet. People can hack into your systems through the Wi-Fi very, very easily. And the activity that then follows often goes unnoticed, it goes unremarked, it's there to embarrass you potentially. And it ends up with executives agreeing to pay $1,000 a month. So people, otherwise some sort of dark secret will be revealed or published to the wider world. That is something that the insurance companies are very happy and comfortable dealing with, and I'll come on to that shortly in terms of what they actually do. Other risks are more dramatic and might involve natural catastrophe. You may be in a situation where you, or indeed your colleagues, need to be extracted very, very quickly from a country that's been has suffered some form of earthquake, could be a tsunami, could be an outbreak of a particularly virulent disease, where you need to remove your personnel very quickly. And that is again something that the insurance market looks at. So just some examples there of the personnel. And here on the screen you'll see listed the ways in which insurance companies respond. The most important thing to bear in mind here, quite apart from picking up the financial cost, is that what they do is they actually deploy an expert, someone who can take hold of the crisis, they can advise you, and they can make sure ultimately that your staff are looked after well, because frankly, you and I don't know what to do in that situation. We're stressed, there are all sorts of emotional plays going on, families getting concerned, the phone's going, and you can't actually think. What the insurance companies do is they bring in someone who has a very cool head, who's seen all this before, and essentially looks after you or your staff. Moving away from the personnel and just touching on the physical side of life, your physical assets, they can take many different forms, and some photographs there of examples of that. It could be stocks of commodities, it could be machinery, it could be buildings around the world. Now the political risk market is very capable of dealing with that. And if we look just first of all then at your fixed assets, you may be worried about the government taking them. You may be deprived of that asset, essentially you lose it. Or you may be worried about it being damaged as a result of some form of political violence. Might be a riot, might be a strike.
And now we have Mr. Edward, the senior partner at GLT Insurance Company. Hello, Mr. Edward.
Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay. First of all, I want to know your opinion about the conference and the main aim behind establishing it.
Thank you. The conference has been a great success. The main aim, I think, is really to open Egypt up to international business and to put Egypt back on the map. It's been through a few years of difficult times, and the hope is that together we can find a way to help Egypt grow and advance into the future with confidence.
So I want to know your company profile. What is GLT Insurance Company?
So GLT is a specialist insurance broker and provider of employee benefits.
So you have mentioned in the conference that there is a lot of benefits and values that anyone could get from the insurance company. So could you briefly tell us about that benefits?
So one of the things that GLT is able to do is to help companies manage their credit, their political, their security risk when they are doing business away from home in international markets. And Egypt is one of those ones. It's a very attractive market particularly for Europeans, North American companies, and even the Asian participants in infrastructure, in agriculture, in tourism, in industries which are central to Egypt's continued progress and growth.
So how the international insurance companies could help Egypt to attract more investors or trade?
So the international insurance companies perform a very important and interesting role. It's a private insurance market. and private capital is willing to take what is perceived as being Egyptian risk. What that means is that international investors and traders can have any concerns that they may have about Egypt allayed by private insurance, in so much that if something goes wrong, if they're not paid for services or goods that they're providing, then the insurance companies will step forward and they will do that. And that is vital to international trade.
So, as finally, what's the main results that we could come up with from this conference?
I think increased awareness of the product, of the fact that the international insurance market is there to help. It's for many years it's been under the radar, as we would say, not something that is widely known about, but in recent years it's really grown tremendously, and today you have 40, 50, maybe even 60 different insurance companies and syndicates at Lloyd's competing for this business and helping international trade. So the more involved that they can get, the better for everyone, frankly.
So it was a pleasure meeting you today, Mr. Edward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shukran jazilan. As-salama.
Thank you. Today we were in Egypt Trade and Expert Finance Conference 2016. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. Stay with us with another episode in كاميرا العقارية.